Today, we're counting down the 10 greatest story games you absolutely, unequivocally must play once in your life. Now, what do we think of when we hear a good story in a video game? Cool cutscenes, maybe? Some decent voice acting, a plot that doesn't fall apart by the end? That's the common belief. Get some popcorn, watch the movie bits, play the game bits. But that's a fundamental misunderstanding. The truly greatest stories in this medium do something no movie or book ever can. They stop being something you watch and become something you live. They use the very act of playing, the button presses, the exploration, the choices, to weave you into the narrative fabric, to make you feel the weight of every triumph and the sting of every failure. It's a formula, not just art. After thousands of hours, not just playing, but dissecting narrative design, a pattern emerges. There are rare gems that genuinely change how you see the world. So in this video, we're not just going through a list. For each of these 10 masterpieces, we're breaking down why its story is so powerful, the unique mechanic that makes it unforgettable, and the one core feeling it will leave you with long after the credits roll. And to show how serious we are, we're starting with the two heaviest hitters, the games that represent the absolute pinnacle of what storytelling in games can be. Kicking off our list is Naughty Dog's 2013 masterpiece, The Last of Us Part 1. On the surface, it's another post-apocalyptic zombie story, but calling it that is like calling Moby Dick a fishing story. This is a brutal, heart-wrenching, and unflinchingly human tale about the desperate, terrifying, and sometimes monstrous nature of love. So how does it make you feel it? The game's genius is in its narrative mechanics. You aren't just told that Joel, a hardened smuggler, grows to love his cargo, a young girl named Ellie. You are the instrument of that bond. Every time you crouch to craft a shiv while she stands watch, every time you boost her over a ledge, you are performing an act of care. The gameplay loop is the relationship building. The quiet moments are the entire point. They build an attachment so powerful that it becomes your own. This is why it matters. By the time you reach the game's infamous ending, you aren't just controlling a character. You've spent 15 hours being a protector, a father figure. The game then presents you with an impossible moral choice. And because of the work it put in, the choice feels less like Joel's and more like yours. It forces you to look at the ugly, selfish, beautiful, and primal parts of love. It proved definitively that a video game could deliver a story with the weight and moral ambiguity of the greatest works of literature.
Oh, shit.
The Last of Us perfected a tight, linear story. But what if a game did the opposite? What if instead of a narrow path, it gave you a vast, sprawling open world so alive and so tragic that the story was about the death of an entire era? That brings me to my #1 pick for the greatest story in gaming, a game that features the single best protagonist arc ever written for the medium. This is it, Rockstar's 2018 magnum opus, Red Dead Redemption 2. This isn't a story about cowboys. It's a tragic epic about the violent, messy end of an ideology. It's about loyalty, betrayal, and the agonizing search for redemption in a world that no longer has a place for you. You are Arthur Morgan, the lead enforcer of the Van der Linde gang, a family of outlaws clinging to a fading dream. The magic of Red Dead 2's story is its deliberate, methodical pacing. It's slow, and that's not a flaw, it's the entire point. The game forces you to live in this world. You have to clean your guns, talk to your fellow gang members around the campfire. These aren't just chores, they're narrative devices. Listening to your friends sing, going fishing with them, you become part of this family. It makes you love them. And then it makes you watch, slowly and painfully, as it all rots from the inside out. Arthur's personal journey is mirrored in your actions, helping a stranger, sparing an enemy. These actions are you and Arthur together, trying to find some grace in a graceless world. Why does this stand above all others? Because no other game has so perfectly married its world, its gameplay, and its character arc. Arthur Morgan's story is one of the most profound and beautiful tales of what it means to be a good person in a bad world. The final hours of this game are an emotional gauntlet that will leave you utterly shattered, but also with a strange sense of peace. It's a story that doesn't just ask you to play, it asks you to reflect on your own life, on loyalty, and on what we leave behind. It's a true masterpiece. Okay, those were the two titans, but the world of story games is vast and varied. From the sprawling epic of the Wild West, let's now descend into the crushing depths of a failed underwater utopia. A game whose story is built around one of the most famous and mind-blowing twists in all of gaming. We're going back to 2007 for a game that asked one simple, terrifying question. Would you kindly? BioShock drops you into the deep end, literally. You survive a plane crash and discover a lighthouse that leads to Rapture, an underwater city built as an objectivist paradise. Of course, it all went horribly, horribly wrong. BioShock's storytelling genius isn't just its incredible atmosphere or the audio diaries. Its true brilliance is how it critiques the very nature of being a video game player. Throughout the game, you're guided by a man named Atlas, who constantly asks you to perform tasks with the phrase, "Would you kindly?" You, the player, do them without question. Because that's what you do in games. You follow the objective marker. You are conditioned to obey. This matters because the game's legendary twist reveals that this phrase is a trigger for mind control. You weren't helping Atlas out of choice, you were a slave. In that moment, BioShock holds up a mirror to the player. It deconstructs the illusion of free will in video games and makes you question every action you've ever taken in any game. It's a story that is only possible because it's a game. BioShock uses its environment and a central twist to tell its story. But what if a game told not one story, but a dozen tiny interconnected stories all within a single house? And what if the way you experienced those stories was by literally stepping into the final moment of a person's life? This is probably the shortest game on this list, but it packs more emotional punch in its 2 hours than most games do in 50. What Remains of Edith Finch is a story about a family who believe they are cursed, as every member dies in a strange way. You play as Edith, the last surviving Finch, returning to her bizarre ancestral home to uncover the stories of her lost relatives. The magic here is in the sheer, unbridled creativity of its vignettes. You don't just read a diary, you become each family member in their final moments. In one story, you're a young girl who transforms into various animals. In another, you are a cannery worker, simultaneously controlling his hands to do a mundane job while his imagination runs wild. The gameplay in each story perfectly reflects the personality and fate of the character. This game is a masterclass in empathy. By putting you directly into these incredibly varied and imaginative scenarios, it makes you feel the joy, the fear, and the tragedy of this family. It's a story about death that is, paradoxically, a profound celebration of life and the stories we leave behind. It will make you weep, it will make you smile, and it will make you appreciate the strange, beautiful tapestry of your own family history. We've seen how stories can be told in small, intimate spaces. Now, let's blow the doors off and look at a game that defines epic scale. A game with a world so vast and quests so morally complex that your choices truly feel like they're shaping the fate of nations. CD Projekt Red's 2015 masterpiece, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, is the gold standard for open-world RPG storytelling. You are Geralt of Rivia, a professional monster slayer, searching for his adopted daughter, Ciri, who is being pursued by a spectral army known as the Wild Hunt. What makes The Witcher 3 so special isn't its main plot, which is good, but its world-class side quests. In most RPGs, a side quest is go here, kill something, come back. In The Witcher 3, a simple monster contract can spiral into a multi-hour detective story involving family curses and gut-wrenching moral choices with no clear right answer. The Bloody Baron questline in particular is a standalone masterpiece of writing that's better than the main story of most other games. This game matters because it respects your intelligence. It presents you with a gritty, war-torn world and refuses to give you easy answers. Your choices have tangible, often unpredictable consequences that ripple through the world. It's a game that makes its world feel truly alive by filling it with not objectives, but with stories. It raised the bar for what a side quest could and should be. Geralt's journey is about a father searching for his daughter in a world he fully understands. But what if the story was about a father who doesn't even understand himself, trying to connect with a son he barely knows, all while carrying the weight of a horrific past? Before 2018, Kratos was the god of angry, one-dimensional protagonists. Then Santa Monica Studios did the impossible. They took this character and gave him depth, regret, and a heart. God of War is a story about fatherhood, grief, and the struggle to break the cycle of violence. Kratos, now older, must take his young son Atreus on a journey to scatter his late wife's ashes from the highest peak in all the realms. The entire game is a masterfully crafted buddy road trip movie. The relationship between Kratos and Atreus is built through gameplay. In combat, you direct Atreus' actions with a single button press, the boy button. This simple mechanic forges a powerful connection. Out of combat, their stilted conversations slowly blossom into genuine understanding. And it's all captured in a single, unbroken camera shot, making you feel like an ever-present observer in their intimate journey. This game is a powerful statement about masculinity and change. It's about a man who was defined by his rage, learning, painfully and slowly, how to be a father. The moment Kratos has to reclaim his past in order to save his son is one of the most powerful character moments in all of gaming.
Kratos and Atreus' journey was a single, contained story. But what about a story so big it spans an entire trilogy, where your relationships and choices culminate in a desperate mission to save the entire galaxy? While the entire Mass Effect trilogy is a landmark achievement, its central pillar, Mass Effect 2, is arguably the pinnacle of its storytelling. It's the Dirty Dozen in space. After being killed and resurrected, Commander Shepard must assemble a ragtag team of the galaxy's most dangerous individuals for a suicide mission to save humanity. The game's structure is its story. The main plot is simple. Get a team, go through the Omega-4 relay. The genius is that the real game is getting to know your squad. Each member has a loyalty mission, a deeply personal side story where you help them confront their past. These missions are what make you fall in love with this crew. Mass Effect 2 is the ultimate testament to the power of found family. The final, suicide mission is one of the most brilliant final acts in any game, because the survival of your crew depends directly on the choices you made. If a character you love dies, it's not because the script demanded it, it's because you failed them. It makes the stakes feel intensely personal in a way no other game has quite matched. We've talked a lot about human drama, but what if a story used its mechanics to ask profound philosophical questions about what it even means to be human in a world of androids and machines fighting a meaningless war? On the surface, NieR Automata is a stylish action RPG about androids fighting machines on behalf of humanity. But that is the most deceptive surface-level reading imaginable. This game is a deeply melancholic existential journey about consciousness, purpose, and existence, masterminded by the brilliantly eccentric Yoko Taro. The story's true nature is hidden behind its structure. You have to beat the game multiple times. Your first playthrough is just the beginning. Your second, as her partner 9S, reframes the entire story. And then there's the third playthrough, which is an entirely new story. This isn't just New Game Plus, it is essential. The game uses the very act of repetition to build its themes of cycles, perspective, and hidden truths. NieR Automata will break your heart, and then it will break your brain. It finds more humanity in its cast of robots and androids than most games find in their human characters. The game's true ending involves a gameplay sequence so meta, so emotional, and so reliant on the kindness of strangers that it will fundamentally change how you view the connection between players around the world. It's a story that could only be told as a video game. NieR uses multiple playthroughs and combat to tell its story. But what if a game had no combat at all and was told almost entirely through text, yet still managed to be one of the most thrilling and innovative RPGs ever made? Disco Elysium is a game that defies easy categorization. It's a detective RPG where you wake up with a world-ending hangover, total amnesia, and a murder to solve. You are a detective, but who you are as a person is entirely up for you to decide, line by line, thought by thought. The gameplay is the dialogue. There is no traditional combat. Instead, your battles are fought in conversations and through your own fractured psyche. Your skills aren't just stats. They are 24 different aspects of your personality, like logic, empathy, and even inland empire, which is basically your soul. And these skills talk to you. They whisper suggestions and argue with each other, creating a constant internal monologue. This game is a triumph of writing. It is hilarious, tragic, political, and profoundly weird. It proves that a story doesn't need huge explosions to be utterly riveting. The most compelling world to explore can be the one inside your own head. It offers a level of freedom in role-playing that is virtually unprecedented, allowing you to create a character who is truly, deeply, and sometimes embarrassingly your own. We've been all over the map, from the Wild West to our own broken minds, but our final game gives you a miniature solar system and one single overarching mystery. It's a game whose story is not told to you, but is discovered by you, piece by piece, and its conclusion is one of the most beautiful experiences in all of art. I'm going to be very careful here because Outer Wilds is a game best experienced with as little prior knowledge as possible. Here's what you need to know. You are an alien astronaut exploring your solar system to uncover the secrets of a long-extinct alien race. There's just one catch. You are stuck in a 22-minute time loop, at the end of which the sun supernovas. The story of Outer Wilds is a giant non-linear puzzle, and the only thing you gain between each loop is knowledge. There are no upgrades, no new equipment. Your progression is purely the information you uncover. You slowly piece together a story about the Nomai, their science, their culture, their hopes, and their failure by reading their conversations etched into walls across the solar system. This game is the purest expression of storytelling through exploration. The player's journey of discovery perfectly mirrors the story of the Nomai's own quest for knowledge. The aha moments are some of the most satisfying in all of gaming, and its ending ties everything together in a way that is profoundly moving, terrifying, and beautiful. It's a story about the end of the universe that is ultimately a celebration of curiosity, the joy of discovery, and the acceptance of finality. So, there you have it. 10 games, 10 unforgettable stories. From the gut-punch moral choice of The Last of Us and the tragic redemption of Arthur Morgan, to the philosophical mind-benders of NieR Automata and the beautiful cosmic acceptance of Outer Wilds. We started this video looking for something more than just good stories. We were looking for experiences that justify the hours we pour into this hobby, stories that stick with you long after you put the controller down. Each of these 10 games delivers on that promise. They use the unique language of interactivity to tell stories that are moving, challenging, and unforgettable. They're not just ways to pass the time, they're virtual pilgrimages, journeys that will leave an indelible mark on your soul. If this list introduced you to a new game you're now excited to try, or if a personal favorite was tragically missed, the conversation continues in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.